Legendary actor Bruce Willis retired yesterday from the movie industry due to aphasia. Due to aphasia. So, welcome to the talk show. This is a segment in the Mastermind podcast in which we are talking about stuff that is currently happening in the world that we consider important, relevant, something that, you know, we can discuss, but not only just to provide information, or we are not talking about these subjects just to gossip or to do what 99% of the shows that are on YouTube, Spotify, podcasts, and so on do, that they basically talk trash about mainstream subjects. We are not doing that in this show. And if you are going to watch this podcast or hear this podcast, you need to know that we are here to grow. We are here to expand. We are here to deconstruct current events with the lens and perspective of personal development, spiritual expansion, and business advancement. So, every subject that we discuss in this podcast is for that reason, is with this aim. So today we are going to talk about a little bit of what is aphasia, and also some of the things that you need to take into consideration if you are going to the long run in your career, because hey, at the end of the day, you are Bruce Willis. I am Bruce Willis. We are all prompt to suffer a disease that can ruin our career just like that. We are all vulnerable. We are all on the spot. And today we are going to discuss a little bit about that and how we can be successful although our time is running out. Please, Google, help me to pronounce good aphasia. How do you do it?
Aphasia.
What?
Aphasia.
Aphasia. I am pronouncing it good, huh?
Aphasia.
All right, I'm learning English today. In Spanish is aphasia. So it's, for me, it's easier in Spanish, but aphasia. All righty. Welcome, my friends, to the Mastermind podcast. This is the episode 517 with your host, Dr. Derek Israel, and this is the talk show, the new segment in our podcast in which we discussed mainstream news or mainstream events, but looking how we can grow from that event. So we are not losing our times here. We are not kidding here. We are not having fun here. We are expanding here. And believe me, this for me is very difficult to do, folks. If you have been following me for the last almost 6 years, I am very strict with the content that I share. I never, ever shared something that was not based on a personal development framework. So I didn't talk about anything that was happening currently. But I am changing my ways now because I cannot come here every day, Monday to Friday, 4 a.m. MST, and tell you in your face that you need to change, that you need to evolve, that you need to reinvent yourself, that you need to aspire to new horizons in your life. And then in my personal life, I don't do it. I cannot do that. I need to be integrous, I need to be integrated, I need to be vertical, I need to be acting what I'm speaking. So I am changing my ways now, and I'm including mainstream news in this podcast, but we are not going to deviate in our value proposal about personal development. So I hope that you enjoy this. And let me be honest, it's difficult for me a little bit because I am kind of adjusting my system, my worldview, but I am enjoying this. I was actually enjoying reading about Bruce Willis, about his condition, about his performance, his late performance in his acting career, and I was kind of enjoying this. So just saying, this may be like a good show in the future, a very constant show in the future. So let me know in the comments if you are enjoying this. Also, remember that if you are a constant listener to the podcast, maybe this is your first time, so forget it. But if you're a constant listener to the podcast, remember that you can help us by donating through Patreon. And by donating through Patreon, you can help us to be more self-sustainable and to be able to continue with our mission of providing the best free transformative content to thousands of people around the world in a bilingual manner, Spanish and English. So if you want to help us fund this movement, well, go to Patreon. The link is in the description, and you can donate here. You will be receiving special benefits for doing that. So let's talk about a little bit about what is aphasia. I did it. I say it. I say it good, Google. Yes. All right. Thank you, Google. This is my new Google Assistant. She's called Derek Israel Assistant. Thank you, Derek Israel Assistant. So, what is aphasia? Well, this is not going to be a lecture, folks. Okay, I'm not going to tell you everything that you need to do to know about aphasia. This is not a psychology class. I already took this class when I was in my doctoral program. I already studied this, but you are not studying with this podcast. You are learning. It's different. So what I'm going to be teaching you is just the basis of aphasia for you to understand what is this, how this may impact a person, and what is the symptoms, what are the treatments, and how can you maybe prevent this in your own life. But it's gonna be simple and to the point. I'm not going to bore you with this subject. After that, we're gonna move on to other things that we need to take into consideration about this sudden retirement of Bruce Willis in order to grow as well with this situation, with this tragic situation. So aphasia, man, this is giving me so much struggle. Aphasia. Google, remind me, how can I say it?
Aphasia.
Aphasia, yeah, aphasia. So aphasia is a language disorder mostly caused by a brain damage. All right, that is, in Puerto Rico we say in arroz y habichuelas. That is in rice and beans, or in English, it's more like, in a nutshell, what is aphasia? It's a language disorder that is caused by brain damage. So you may ask, what type of brain damage caused this? Well, different types. For example, a stroke can definitely cause aphasia, because when you have a stroke, some of your neurons die, right? So if those neurons that die are very connected to the area in the brain that is responsible, highly responsible, we cannot say it is completely responsible because the brain is highly integrated and is working as a whole. but we have certain areas that have like a priority for for certain functions. For example, the function of visual perception, or the function of memory, or the function of attention, in this case the function of language. And those neurons in a stroke, for example, if they die, like, you can have a disruption in that functionality of your brain, in this case language. Also, another way that you can have a brain damage is by a concussion. Maybe you are running in your bicycle one day. This happened to a guy. I come from a very small town in Puerto Rico. It's a very rural town. It's a very kind of poor town in Puerto Rico, not at all advanced. And I remember this guy. That every town, I don't know about you, maybe you live in the United States, maybe you live in a big city, but if you live in small towns, you know that there's always this guy that is like the crazy guy on town, or the crazy woman on town. Like this crazy guy that is always like speaking alone in the shopping mall or in the public spaces, and everybody knows him. And maybe he's a very good person, but he's like the crazy one in town, right? So we had a couple of those in in Lajas, Puerto Rico, where I come from. And I remember this guy, man. I haven't seen this guy like in 15 years. I'm old. He may be dead, or maybe in a psychiatrist hospital. But this guy, he always was doing like a crazy sound, like a nervous tip, like a kind of Tourette syndrome sound. um like something like, I don't want to make fun of him, but I want to illustrate this because this is part of how we can create consciousness and awareness. But he used to do like something like and something with his arm, like so you was like kind of normal, maybe in a line in the supermarket, and he may be behind you, and you was like hearing this and you look at him, and he was struggling with this, and he was always like that. And one day I asked my father, because my father grew up in the same town and he kind of knew everyone there. And I asked him, "Hey daddy, what is going on with this dude? Why he do that?" And he told me, well, this guy was very normal in his young age, but one day I think he was with a bicycle. He was riding very, 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 very rapidly with his bicycle in a street, like in the night. He was riding like almost 60 miles per hour, 17 miles, like very crazy rapidly. He was very athletic, a very strong man. But the problem was that he was so rapid and so quick that he was looking downwards while he was sprinting in his bike. So he was not looking to the front, and he crashed with a truck. And but the truck was parked, so the truck was not moving, because if the truck was moving, he will be died. He will be dead. But the truck was parked, but in the night he maybe didn't see it too well, so he hit it with the front, with the with the top of his head to the metal of the truck. So he was unconscious and he suffered a severe concussion. And after that, he used to do those sounds and became like the crazy guy in town. He was a very good person, no problem with him, socially, or, he was not problematic, but, he had that problem. So that is like an example of a concussion. It's basically when you receive a high impact in your head, and that can cause, physical damage to your brain. That also can cause what, how I say it, Google, please help me again.
Aphasia.
Aphasia. That can cause aphasia as well. So what else? Also, dementia can cause aphasia. And this is one of the things that I wanted to say, because a lot of people confuse depression with aphasia. Oh, sorry, with dementia, in specifically in old age. And I learned this by working with the dementia population in the Colorado corrections, I used to run the dementia unit with prisoners that had dementia. By the way, that was one of my best experiences, professional experiences in my career as a clinical psychologist. And one of the things that I learned, I remember my supervisor saying to me, "Hey, if you want to really know if a person, specifically an old man, and in the case of Bruce Willis, he's not very old, but he's already in the old age, like he's 64 or something like that, 63 or 64." Um, and she used to tell me, if you really want to know if someone have dementia, you really need to rule out depression first. This is like this is like so basic uh, in the dementia assessment if we want to diagnose someone with dementia, because what happens is if that old man or an old woman have depression, and this is like very common in old age, we can get depression like that. Why? Because hey, our death is very near, and if we didn't live with integrity, we didn't live to our edge, we didn't live the life that we expected, in old age, we're gonna be torturing ourselves, inside of our mind. Also, we are losing our relatives. We are losing our partner. We are seeing our old friends dying. Right? We cannot drive anymore. We cannot work anymore. Sometimes we are getting other health issues, maybe diabetes, maybe you know cancer, stuff like that. So old people tends to be depressed a lot. And what happened with depression, and this happened a lot, in depression to young people, to children, and also to adults, but very, 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 very critical in old age, is that they start losing cognitive functionalities due to the depression and not due to a dementia. And sometimes they are confused with dementia and they are only depressed. And this is very, very, very common. So be careful by saying, "Oh my God, this old man have dementia. He's talking very weird. He's forgetting stuff." He may have dementia. He may have Alzheimer, is a form of dementia, or Parkinson disease is a form, or Huntington disease, or aphasia. It's not dementia, but it's related. So he may have that, right? But also it may be depression. So if you are struggling with your parents, you may be thinking that yourself or your parent or your grandfather may be developing dementia. First, go to a psychologist and rule out depression. If a psychologist or a psychiatrist can rule out depression, then you can continue with more like invasive treatments, or not treatment, but invasive kind of assessment tools in order to detect if really we are talking about dementia. So dementia is another you know um, variable that can cause aphasia. Also, a brain tumor can cause aphasia. I don't know exactly what's going on with Bruce Willis. The family, they posted a social media message announcing his retirement, but I didn't. I read a couple of articles before doing this podcast, but I didn't read if he had a tumor, or if he had a concussion, or if he had you know other. They didn't say exactly what is going on, but we know that he was diagnosed with aphasia, but we don't know. At least I don't know. Maybe if you know, you can comment. I don't know what was the root or the cause of aphasia. So, depending on the area of your brain that you get hit by the aphasia, you will be compromised in your language. For example, if it is Broca aphasia, you are more compromised in how you formulate language, how you speak. And you may speak wrongly, you may put sounds that they are not supposed to be there, you may confuse words, and people will have a lot of trouble like understanding you. And this is called Broca aphasia because it is in an area of the brain that is called the Broca area. Maybe I can show you a little bit. Let me see if I can go to YouTube. If you are seeing this in my YouTube channel on Spotify on the video, you will be benefiting from the visuals. So if um you are only like listening to the audio, you will not be able to benefit. So let's see. Let me share my screen real quick. So here, look, I can here watch both. Let me see that image. If I can become kind of put it more big. So here, so this blue area in the brain, this is what we call the broadcast area, and this is the area of the brain that if it is get disrupted or broke or some kind of damage, you will have problem formulating language, expressing language. But in this other area, the orange one, it is called the Wernicke's. Maybe I need to ask Google, hey, Google, how can I say this? Wernicke's area. So this area, it is more concerned with how you comprehend language. So the blue one, Broca, is how you formulate it, how you speak it. Wernicke's is more how you understand language, how you comprehend language. So notice how they are in different parts of the brain. So you may have Wernicke's aphasia, and that will give you problems understanding what people is saying to you, but you may not have a lot of problems how do you speaking the language or expressing the language. The same as the reverse. You may have problems in the broadcast area, and you may be having problems speaking language, formulating language. But if your Wernicke's area is sound or good, that means that you may have no problem in understanding what people is telling you. But sadly, there is a meta kind of beyond kind of aphasia that we can call global aphasia. And in this global aphasia, for example, if you have dementia, probably you will be having global dementia. Oh, sorry, global aphasia, because dementia will affect your whole brain. When you have dementia, your brain is dying. That's it. Your brain is dying. So your whole brain will be affected. No way around it. And then you can have what we call total aphasia. That is that you are having problems in both, formulating language, but also understanding language. So I hope that you are enjoying a little bit this education. We are trying, or what I'm trying to do here, folks, is using this Bruce Willis example to create awareness, because he's only one folk that have aphasia. But you know how many million of people have this condition in the world or have suffered in the past, and no one is talking about this? People talk about diabetes a lot. People talk about hypertension, about cancer, about depression so much, anxiety so much, ADHD so much, drug addiction so much. But what about dementia? What about aphasia? You know, what about Parkinson disease? So we need to, I'm saying too, too much. I remember this old lady, and she was a colleague of mine in the corrections in Colorado. She was a psychologist, and or a counselor. She was not a psychologist. I think she was a counselor. And she always told me, "You are saying you know too much." And I was like, "Okay." Her name was Heather. Okay, Heather. And I was working with that, but now I'm like, "Damn, I'm saying it too much again." Anyways, um, what I was telling you about. Yeah, we are talking about, and I say it again. Ah, damn it. Um, we are talking about a lot of disease in the public eye and in the media, but I consider that we need to expand the repertory of disease that we talk about. Not only these 5 big ones or 6 big ones. Let's also discuss about HIV and also borderline personality disorder, stuff like people kind of know what they are, but they don't actually know what they are. For example, I'm pretty sure that you didn't know too much about aphasia before coming here. You kind of know, maybe you read, okay, it's a language stuff, but you didn't have, a profound knowledge. Maybe you are gathering some nuggets in this podcast, and that is the whole reason. So, what are the symptoms? Well, I already told you. Um, People will have a lot of problems conducting language processes. In the case of Bruce Willis, people were noticing that he had a lot of trouble, like memorizing the lines in the script for his movies, and this was a problem for him and also for the crew, because as an actor you need to know what you will say next, and it's something that is script. It is something that is determined. So you need to use memory. So if you was doing like a improvisation, like a performance, well, maybe aphasia will be not that determinant, right? But if you need to memorize everything and you need to follow a procedure, a specific procedure, definitely aphasia will be, getting in their way, getting in your way to have success in this endeavor. So what are some of the treatments available? Well, some people can recover from aphasia to certain degrees. So if people are like more into the concussion aspect, like they receive like a maybe something happened to their head, a bang or something like that, with time and with therapy, if they are and if they have enough brain plasticity and brain recovery and growth factor, those are like terms to describe the capacity of your brain to heal itself. If those patients are receiving that constantly, they can recover from aphasia. But some of them, for example, if they have a tumor, or if they have dementia, they are not going to recover, dudes. They are not going to recover. But with treatment, they can stop a little bit, or they can delay the progress. It's like HIV. You cannot eradicate HIV from your cells. But if you receive treatment and you have a good lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle, you can delay the process of HIV, and you can delay the AIDS kind of stage. That is the last stage of HIV. So the same with aphasia. You can delay a little bit the effects of this tragic condition with mostly talk therapy. So talk therapy is what they receive in these type of situations. Also, it's very important the psychological therapy, the psycho treatment, because you are losing language, dude. So how you will feel if you are losing language, if you cannot express yourself, if you are not understanding your wife, if you are not understanding your kids anymore, you will feel depressed probably, you will feel anxious, you will feel hopeless. So it's very important for these folks also to receive psychotherapy, not only talk therapy to improve their language skills, but psychotherapy as well to manage better the emotions and the adaptability of that person to his new life and to his new condition. So this is also very important for these folks. And also medication, if they are prescribed with medication, is very important in this aspect. And also the lifestyle is very, very imperative. Like a person that have aphasia will degenerate more if they are, for example, addict to cocaine, or to, maybe to cannabis, or maybe to opioids. Like if you have a strong drug addiction, obviously this will affect your brain, so this will synergize with your conditions. So if you have also a lazy lifestyle, you eat bad, you eat a lot of McDonald's every day, you drink a lot of alcohol, beer, whiskey, vodka every day, well, also this is something that will obviously compromise your health, and you will be going in the downward path with your existing conditions. So part of the treatment with these folks is promoting a better lifestyle in order to be the most pure that you can be and the more mentally active that you can be the best that you can be, although you will have aphasia and problems in language. So that's it for our mini to the point class of what is aphasia. Now you have a better understanding of what Bruce Willis is going through right now in this stage of his career. Now let's talk about why this is important. Why this is important and why I am bringing this to the podcast, because I am not bringing this to the podcast just to create awareness around aphasia. You know, that, yeah, we can grow a little bit with that, but that is not uh, why I did it. So let's talk a little bit about the points that I want to express to formulate our exponential growth in our personal development. So, what we can learn from this situation? First, I think that we should start prioritizing health span over lifespan when considering and planning and executing our life purpose. I will repeat. We need to start prioritizing, okay, emphasizing health span over lifespan, and I will explain what are those when considering, planning, and executing our life purpose. Okay, so I was in an event last week in the weekend. I went online and I was listening one of the speakers. He was a biologist. He's an expert on genes and how we can hack basically our genes to improve our lifespan and our health span. And he told something in that conference that stuck with my mind, and it was like people overemphasize the importance of of lifespan, but we forget about health span and how important is this aspect of our life. So what is lifespan? So lifespan, you know what is? It is your life, how many years you will live. So you live 80 years, you have a 80 years lifespan. If you lived 100 years, you had a 100-year lifespan. And science and the medical science in the last 40 or 50 years, they have been very concerned with improving our lifespan. And we have done it. I was reading just today that Americans, like North Americans in USA, they have right now a lifespan of almost 88, almost 89 years that they are living average. Like I remember when I was born in 1994, yes, I'm old. I remember that the lifespan was up. I may be forget. I may be saying this wrong. I'm now I am kind of confused. It was 78 or 88. Let me Google this. I don't want to be saying the wrong thing. Sorry, I was saying it wrong. It is 78 years, not 88 years. Yeah, 78. And I remember when I was in like when I was a child, the lifespan back then it was 73 years old. And now that I'm an adult, I have seen that grown at least 5 years. So notice how we are getting older and older, and we are living more and more because technology is getting better and better in improving our lifespan. But lifespan, folks, it is not the only thing that we need to take into consideration. We need also to take into consideration what is considered as health span. Health span. And what is this? Well, it is the gap that you have in your life, like it is the time framework that you have in your life in which you are gonna be healthy, or at least without a major disease in your life, a disease that is threatening to kill you. And when people talk about health span, they talk more about physical diseases like diabetes or hypertension or cancer, stuff like that. Um, but also consider other diseases that they may not directly kill you, but they will emotionally kill you, or they may drag you to suicide. For example, depression or dementia or schizophrenia or Alzheimer. So it is not about that you're gonna, if you are lucky enough to not die in an accident, let's say if you are lucky enough to die naturally, you may die at 78 years old, maybe more, because if you are an adult today, when you arrive to that age, the lifespan probably will be 83, 85 years old. So you may endure to that age, but how healthy you will endure? This is the critical question. This is the health span question. It is not only about enduring, folks. It's about enduring in a condition that we can still manifest our life purpose. In the case of Bruce Willis, we all know his life purpose is acting. He did it great. He did it for a long 20 years. Oh, sorry. I don't know exactly how many years. I think more than 20, like 30 or 40. Um, but he did it for his most of his adult life, and he loved it. But he cannot do it anymore, and it's not because he's not alive. It's because he's not healthy enough to conduct his life purpose. So when we are thinking about our life purpose, and by the way, I have a course that I call Manifesting Your Life Purpose. It is in derekisrael.com. If you want to connect and discover the most essential aspect of your being, it is your life purpose, your why. Why are you here for? What is your mission? What is your particular drive in this world? I can help you to discover that and to manifest that. So go to derekisrael.com. Link is in the description. So if you really want to manifest your life purpose, you need to understand death is not the thing that will prevent your life purpose. Obviously, it will, but it's not the only thing. Also, sickness and disease may compromise your life purpose. So you may be 30 years now, right now, and you may say, all right, Derek, I took your course. I love your course, man. I understood my life purpose. I did all the strategies that you recommended, and now I'm manifesting my life purpose. And I plan for the next 50 years, because I'm 30. For the next 50 years, I will be doing this. I am planning long term. I have all these plans. Everything is set up. All right, that's very good. But what if If when you are maybe 50 years old, you get dementia, what if then? And maybe you are going to live until 80 or until 90, but with dementia, in a bed, dysfunctional. And this may happen. So, what is the point here? Well, the point is that your time is running out. It's not only running out because of death, it's running out because of disease and sickness. And obviously, we can prevent sickness, but we cannot deny or run away from it if it is our time. For example, for aphasia, if you want to prevent, you need to become mentally active every time. You need to learn new things. You need to learn new languages. You need to eat healthy. You need to prevent depression, prevent excessive anxiety, prevent smoking, prevent alcoholism. The normal stuff that you know that you need to do. But are you actually doing this? Because I don't care, dude, if you are manifesting your life purpose today, if you are killing yourself also today with toxic habits that will shorten your lifespan and your health span, that is most important. So when we are thinking about our life purpose, we need to think about long term, but we need to think about how we're going to stay healthy all of these years, because if not, I'm going to be interrupted by a sickness, by a disease in the middle of my way, and I will fail my life purpose. We are all Bruce Willis in this sense. We are all vulnerable to love our career, to love our drive, to love our purpose, but then we cannot do it anymore. So, hey, if this happened to you, well, you can apply compassion, you can apply self acceptance, you can apply surrender, you can apply faith. But if this haven't happened to you yet, but it will, well, do everything that you got, my friend, to manifest your life purpose when you can. And now you can. You are hearing this, and probably you are pretty healthy. You may have some conditions, but probably you are healthy. So, what are you waiting for? For the disease? For the sickness? That is your plan? No, start today. Start acting today. Get out of your house today. Make that call today. Start that business today. Tomorrow you may be sick. Tomorrow you may be with dementia. Start today. You have the health today. You have the impetus today. You have the energy today. What are you waiting for? Oh, I'm afraid. We are afraid. We all are. Who is not afraid? We all are, dude. But we push against our fear. That is courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is pushing towards fear, doing although we have fear. That is courage. So prioritize health span, become more healthy, adopt a better lifestyle. I have an episode on this. Is on Spanish. So if you know Spanish, just search on my YouTube channel, Derek Israel Lifestyle. I think it's Lifestyle, the name, or Estilo de Vida. You can search both. And I have a Spanish episode about lifestyle. What is this? But at the end of the day, this is so important, folks. And this is one of the nuggets, one of the golden nuggets that we can learn from this experience of Bruce Willis. Also, make sure that you never. What I wrote here. Let me see because I. Oh my gosh. Give me just a second. I dropped my notes. So what I wrote here. Make sure to never. Okay. And another point that I want to emphasize is that you need to make sure to never lack innovation or lacking getting out of your comfort zone or reinventing yourself, because this will destroy your career. Now, I was reading, and in those articles about Bruce Willis, it says that he had a brilliant career in the beginning of his career, like in the 90s and early 2000s. But then at the end of his career, like his last movies, he has been participating in a lot of low budget movies, kind of average acting performances, and people were speculating, hey, this guy, he must retire because he's not that good anymore, he's not that effective anymore, you know. And a lot of people is saying, so this was due to aphasia. The aphasia is the cause of his decrease in performance. um and it may be, but also it may be lack of innovation and lack of reinvention in, in his own character, you see. So I don't want to speculate what happened to him, why he started so strongly and then he was like declining. I just want to say that that may be you, but it doesn't have to be you. We have a lot of cases that artists, in which celebrities, in which thinkers, they never decreased. They never like stop getting better and better and better. For example, Lebron James. Let's talk about Lebron James a little bit. He has been almost 20 years in the court, in professional court. Do you see that man decreasing his level? No. He's scoring in this season, 2022 season, like I think 30 points per game, something like that. Is crazy. He used to score 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 27, 28 points per game. And now, I think with 35 years old, he's 35 or something like that, or 36, I don't know. What is the age of LeBron? Now I'm LeBron James age. He is 37. He's almost 40 and he's not decreasing. Now, yes, he's a little bit more prone to injuries. Obviously, yeah, we can see of of a decrease or decline in his general health, but not so much. So he's preventing the natural decline. Very good. Very good. Also, Warren Buffett is a good example of this longevity that we are talking about. Warren Buffett is one of the most famous, popular, and genius investors of all time. He now owns a lot of shares in Apple, in Coca-Cola as well. In what other industry Warren Buffett is involved? Let me see. Warren Buffett. So he's also invest in Bank of America, American Express. So you kind of know this guy has a lot of shares and a lot of money. He's a billionaire. He's a billionaire. And this guy has been doing these signs. He had like, I think, 12 years old. Like, I think that he did his first investment at 12. But he has been a professional investor like forever. Now he has like 60 years in the game and still he's rocking. How that is possible? What is his age? He's almost 90. Let me see. Age. He's 91 years old, folks. He's 91 years old. Let me share my screen. I want you to see a photo about him. You may not know him, but please read about this guy. Read about this guy. He's a genius. This is Warren Buffett. He's not perfect. I'm not saying he's perfect. You can find shadow on him. You can find bad stuff on him. We all have the shadow. I'm just saying he has a lot of longevity. He has the capacity of keep innovating, reinventing himself, and he keep pushing. That is very important. So what is the lesson here? We don't need to decrease in our career with age. We can continue expanding, but it will demand a lot of concentration, a lot of health span, a lot of healthy lifestyle, and also a lot of innovation from our part to continue being relevant. Because this is the thing, folks, generations change. So maybe you was very famous with your own generation, but then your own generation becomes old with you, and the most important folks, the most important consumers in the market becomes the new generation. I have lived this already. I'm a millennial, and I'm now noticing how the workforce is becoming more and more and more Generation Z. And Generation Z is the new generation. And that is part of the reason why I have changed so much my content, my formats, and what I'm bringing to the table, because I am not trying to fit or to entertain or to teach millennials anymore or Generation X anymore, because this is old people, all like me, all like me. If I want to have long last impact in humanity, as Friedrich Nietzsche said, if I want to impact the history of humanity, I need to be able to impact intergenerationally, all generations, the old people, the adults, the adolescents, the young folks in college, and children and toddlers and babies. I don't know. I am thinking about how can I impact babies. I'm pretty sure that in the next 20 years I will do a program, something related to kids, related to children, related to that new generation, because I want to impact you since you are out of your mother's vagina. As soon as you are out of your mother's vagina, even before that, I want to impact you with my work. If I'm a comedian, I want to make you laugh. If I'm a writer, I want your mother to read a story that I wrote to you. If I'm a personal development coach, psychologist, guru, spiritual guru, business consultant, I want you to be studying my stuff while you are maybe 1 year old. I want you to become motivated to go and to change your diaper at 1 year old. You know, that is the utopia. That is the ideal. Obviously, sometimes it is not practical, but this is my utopia. This is my ideal. I want to be my ideal. I want to be relevant forever. We can call this the germ, the nucleus of creativity. Sadly, Bruce Willis, he was not too relevant to younger folks anymore. Like maybe you ask a 10 years old today, who is Bruce Willis? He may not even know, right? But if you ask a 10-year-old who is The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, he will know. Why? Why is that? Well, Dwayne Johnson, he's younger, obviously, so the comparison is not that effective, but he is still innovating. He was a wrestler. He innovated his way in wrestling by talking like a pro, by developing a character that it was awesome, The Rock. Then he went to Hollywood and he started doing action movies, and then he innovated to drama movies, and then he innovated to comedy movies, and then he continued innovating, and maybe he's going to politics now and he wants to become president in the United States, stuff like that. So notice how he keep innovating, reinventing. Every time he's in his comfort, he seems to escape his comfort to the new thing and the new thing and the new thing. And by that, with that strategy, he's impacting intergenerationally, all generations. So this is very important, folks. This is very important. And the last point that I want to bring to this podcast today is the following. At the end of the road, at the end of your journey, my friend, make sure that you leave behind a couple of masterpieces in order to be a legend that live forever. And I think that Bruce Willis, he accomplished this because I was saying in the last stage of his career, acting career, he may not be, he was not that good, probably. I don't see a lot of movies now, so I don't know. But according to what I read, the critics, he was not that good. But when we see the big picture of his career, he's a legend. But because he has a good body of work, and I will do uh, an episode soon about the Magnus Corpus or Magnus Opus. Sorry, it's kind of the same. Now I'm thinking, and I should be doing both at the same time, the Magnus Opus and the Magnus Corpus. So basically, that is the masterpieces that you leave behind. The Magnus Opus is your masterpiece. For example, Quixote is the Magnus Opus of Cervantes, the masterpiece, right? Maybe Hamlet is the masterpiece or Magnus Opus of Shakespeare, right? Maybe Die Hard franchise is the Magnus Opus of Bruce Willis. And you may say, no, it is not that. It is the Fifth Element or is this other one. Okay, whatever. But you understand the point is that you need to create long lasting and multiple masterpieces in your career to become a legend like Bruce. I had an episode that I did like a couple of weeks ago. I recommend you to look for it in my YouTube channel. And it's about how you can do this. It is called, how the hell I call that episode? Be Prolific. I think that's it, the title. Mastermind Podcast, Be Prolific. And in that specific episode, please watch that. I teach you how you can become prolific. That is the art of creating forever. Not only creating once, creating forever. For example, um, We can say that Warren Buffett is very prolific in his investments. He has been doing it for a long time, right? We can say that um, I'm looking for an actor who is very prolific as an actor. Let me ask Google. Google is like my new brain now. Prolific actors. Let's see what Google says. Who is that? Jackie Chan? Okay, I know Jackie Chan. So Jackie Chan is a very, very prolific actor. Definitely, he has a lot of films. I am reading that Christopher Lee. I don't know who is this guy. He's the most prolific actor. He have 276 movies or acting appearances. Who the hell is Christopher Lee? Let me see if I know who this guy is. Oh yeah, I kind of seen him before. Let me show you. Let me show you real quick. So this is a very according to Google, according to our new brain, our new collective brain. This is Christopher Lee, and he's one of the most prolific actors in the oh my gosh, this is the actor of Lord of the Rings, the old guy. Oh, okay, all right. Let me see characters. Christopher Lee characters. He's also the bad guy on Star Wars. Huh. Interesting. So yeah, he was very prolific, huh? Didn't know him. Didn't know him. So, anyways, I think that now you get the point. So if you want to become prolific, you need to stay healthy. You need to have a health span. And it's all about keep innovating, keep creating. Not every piece will be a masterpiece. Not every video that I do is a master video. Not every episode that I do is a master episode, right? But if I do this for the rest of my life, I already have 517. If I do this for the rest of my life, and let's say that I I die at, I don't know, 110 years. Let's say if I continue to do this and I have a health span that permits me maybe 90 years of my life to continue doing this. So I am 27 now. I have like 50 something, 60 something more years to do this. How many episodes do you think that I can do in the next 60 years? I can do like how many? I don't know. Let's say if I can do 200 episodes per year, let's say that is a realistic number. 200 per 60. I can do, oh my God, 12,000. 12,000 more episodes in my life. This is an approximation, right? Around about those 12,000, how many do you think will be masterpieces? Maybe, I don't know, 5 or 10. Maybe 5 or 10. But that is enough to build in a great career. I don't need to do a grand slam every time, but I just continue showing up. I continue being constant. I continue with the discipline. I continue with the passion. I continue reinventing myself. I continue looking for new horizons. I continue connecting with my life purpose, and voila! I create a magnus corpus, a corpus of work that is admirable, and people can look up or to it as an example of personal development, mastery and professional proficiency. So in conclusion, very sad story. Bruce Willis story, it's a sad news. But I hope that he can overcome this and enjoy his family. I think that he deserves a good retirement now and enjoy his kids, his beautiful wife, his beautiful money. He has everything, right? He may lack a little bit of health, but if he continue working with his therapies and becoming active and having a lifestyle that is healthy, he may be, giving trouble in a positive way for a long time. So, best of luck to Bruce Willis. Best of luck to everyone that is suffering from aphasia. Best of luck to you that you are meditating on your life purpose now. And if you are interested in, discovering your life purpose and you think that you are on time, and maybe you are still on time, go to derekisrael.com, and in the link that I have below, you can access a link that is called Derek Israel courses. There you can access the life purpose course. It's already on Spanish and it's coming on English, so it's like halfway done on English. So that is something. So I don't care if you speak Spanish or English, you can benefit either way. Also, leave your thoughts in the comment section. I will be reading you guys. I will be commenting back. What do you agree? What you don't agree? Or what are your thoughts about this whole Bruce Willis situation? And share this with your friends. Share this in your social media. That helps a lot to create more awareness for aphasia and for personal development and everything that we're doing. Remember that you can donate on Patreon. Only with $5 per week, you can help us to continue this work that is helping thousands and thousands around the world. And I see you tomorrow. I was about to do today a fascinating episode, but I interrupted my agenda because the talk show, this specific show that we discuss mainstream stuff, this can interrupt the podcast wherever, whatever is important to do it. And now I'm a little bit scared because I have this long agenda. I have shown you my agenda before. I have like 100 episodes that are crazy important. For example, today I was about to discuss you about the importance of the leverage principle. And that means that if you know where you stand or where you can stand in life, you can basically leave the world. And that is a crazy idea. It's a very philosophical idea. And it's imperative that you know that. I know that. But at the same time, now I have this talk show that mainstream stuff is going on every day. So now it's like conflicting what I will discuss. So now it's like all of these ideas are fighting with each other, in which, they are fighting with each other to establish which idea will be presented in the podcast through me, because I'm like an instrument of these ideas. They are like happening through me, not by me. And that is another idea that I need to talk about. It is called the supremacy of ideas. Ideas are fighting each other in your head. Friedrich Nietzsche talk about it a lot, and this is so true, man. So now I have this problem that, I want to discuss some of the crazy ideas that I have for you, the most radical, most transformative ideas in the whole world about personal development, spiritual expansion, sexual advancement, and business capacity. But also I have this mainstream stuff going on. I'm kind of a chaos. But I hope that you are enjoying what we are doing. I hope that you are enjoying our Magnus Opus, our Magnus work. Stay tuned for that one also. And I see you in